How many times is C'baoth just going to be like, oh, you owe me some Jedi, and keep going along before he just breaks, you know?
You think he's going to pull a Kylo Ren and start slashing his lightsaber across the command console?
Yeah. He's going to crush Thrawn's head between his thighs.
There's a different type of lizard in a different galaxy that makes your thighs weaker. It's because they have predators that have very large calves that chase after them.
By the end of the book, Thrawn's got this huge terrarium that as you walk through, there's different bubbles of different effects of different lizards.
Hello there. You found the Lost Holocron, an ancient artifact of lore and legends from a galaxy far, far away. Each transmission of the Lost Holocron, you will join an episodic discussion of media from the Star Wars universe. We are your guides. I'm Tim, and I'm joined by Kyle.
Hello.
Scott.
Hello.
And Stuart.
G'day.
We will be covering the material up to and including Chapter 9 of Heir to the Empire. Stuart, what has happened so far?
So, Grand Admiral Thrawn has allied himself with the Dark Jedi by promising to deliver Luke Skywalker and the pregnant Leia Organa Solo. Master Jaruus C'baoth shows to be an impatient man as the first kidnapping attempt is foiled by Luke Skywalker's warrior prowess. Despite the New Republic needing to raise its diplomatic image, logistically, it's easier said than done, while they are still at war with the Imperial Remnants. Leia is torn between her diplomatic duties and Jedi training, while Luke is stuck between being the last of the Old Jedi and the first of the new. And today, before we pass it off to anybody else to discuss what happened in this chapter, there's one thing that I'd like to address, and it is that we have a really strange planet name, and two of them, actually. This took place in the Zahn system, and I would like to know how everybody read the BPFASSH planet name.
So the audiobook says it's Bibfash, like Bibfash. Yeah, so...
See, I just read it as a fart.
Just a quick note.
Yeah, it's a very bizarre name.
And Han even says some world called Bibfash.
And
like
two
he's
other
never heard of it before.
Words. I thought that was quite good.
I know, and I thought Bimmy Sorry was tough.
Yeah.
So in Australia around Christmas time, there are these, I'm pretty sure they're Polish cookies called Pfeffernuss cookies, and they start with a PFE. Well, I can't remember the rest of the spelling, but it starts with a PF. And so in my head, this was a kind of short or a small noise at the beginning. So it was fash with some weird labial stuff going on.
Yeah, that was my best attempt at it.
Yeah. So
Fash.
Yeah, fash. So throughout this chapter or throughout this discussion, I am fine to refer to this planet as the planet Fash.
Fair enough.
I'm going to go with the audiobook.
Bip Fash or what was it again?
Like Bibfash.
Bip Fash. Okay.
Bip Fash. Let's
Yeah.
just let that sink in.
But it's funny to me, like even in this chapter, Han has apparently never heard of it before. He's like, some world called Bibfash.
Yeah.
It probably doesn't get a lot of attention because no one can say it.
Yeah, that's probably true.
Yeah. So, Kyle, what happened in this chapter?
All right, so in this chapter, the Imperials conduct 3 concurrent hit and fade operations in the Suis Sector. While Grand Admiral Thrawn plays his cards close to his chest, Captain Pallaeon deduces that the exercise is as much to test Master C'baoth's mettle as to enforce the chain of command. Pallaeon is more than a little shaken at the display of power from C'baoth. Meanwhile, the raid on the Batfish has been observed by smugglers. I'll call it what I want. Meanwhile, the raid on the Batfish has been observed by the smugglers Talon Card and Mara Jade at a safe distance. Card seemingly having foreknowledge about the operation. To Jade's chagrin, Card calls off his smuggling run, citing the New Republic's imminent relief effort as a situation they wish not to be entangled in. The chapter closes with news of the raids reaching Coruscant while Leia is engaged in her new lightsaber lesson. Luke laments that while the skills come easily to himself, he may not be the teacher that she needs.
So we had 3 separate sections in
Yeah.
this.
Yeah,
We got the
Yeah.
Imperial section.
all very interesting sections.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, we had our first 2-part last time, and then we got our
Yeah. It's pretty
Yeah, 3
hustling and bustling galaxy.
All right, so let's take this in the order that it came out in the book. What did you guys think about the Imperial raid on Fash and the 2 other unnamed systems?
I thought it was kind of not really fair. It's like, oh, let's just like, hit him and then just like, hit him and quit him. Let's just get out of here.
Yeah. Yeah, it's almost like they're just trolling the system.
It was just
exactly.
It was a very like space drive-by kind of feel.
Yeah, exactly. Like a drive-by, for no real reason except for to test his new little military play toy, C'baoth.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love that moment of recognition from Pallaeon when he turns around and C'baoth's in his battle meditation and he just like looks really strained, but he's commanding these people across, I think it said tens of light years, right?
Yeah, it was some kind of great distance.
Like
Yeah,
that,
huge distance. And Pallaeon just gets like this chill up his spine. He's like, oh man, the Force is super scary.
Yeah, he's like, this is legit.
I kind of got that feeling of the in the first movie when they're around the discussion table and the guy says to Vader, oh, your superstitious ways are from an old dead religion, and then he chokes him at the table, and it was like that moment of recognition of like, oh, maybe this religion has something to it.
Oh yeah, 100%. What do you guys think Thrawn was feeling with that?
I think he was definitely feeling like basically like everything he had hoped C'baoth could do for him was coming into fruition, and that he's like, cool, my plan's actually working.
Yeah, I didn't think he was intimidated. I think he's been around the Emperor enough and Vader enough to know like what was going on or have some expectations, and he's got the Islamari as well to help have that kind of like last line of defense that C'baoth can't cross.
But he also kind of flexes his Islamari at the same time with C'baoth at one part of the scene. So he's like, just in case you try and do anything funny, I got my Islamari right here.
Mm-hmm.
It is kind of mind-blowing to me that, a Force user can have this much power, that he is causing this much damage, but not if there's a lizard nearby, then he can't.
Fear my lizard.
Yeah.
He needs a sign that says beware of lizard.
Oh yeah.
I adore the little like force field lizards, but I don't know. It does seem insane. Well, also I know these books were made before the prequels. Is this highly powerful for a Jedi? Is this like somebody who like they know Jedi and like, oh, this is crazy, or this is somebody who was like, I've never seen a Jedi and this just is crazy because I've never seen a Jedi.
That is a good question.
Yeah.
I'm having to view that through the lens of through ones where like the prequels don't exist.
Right.
So
that is something I'm curious about. Like if another Jedi was there, would they be like, "Oh, I do that on Tuesdays"?
I mean, I get the impression that maybe like a higher up Jedi, maybe like master level, could do it, but like I don't know. I think it might be a little beyond like maybe a Jedi Knight's ability. What do you guys think?
Yeah, I think Luke is a good benchmark for what's considered normal at this point because he was our perspective, and not at this point in like the galactic timeline, but this point in the way that readers perceive the Force, and I mean that of course influences the universe, the media taking place in universe as it exists at this point, but I think Luke's the benchmark because he was like the POV character in the original trilogy. And so for seeing Luke as the standard, then C'baoth is definitely a lot more powerful. And so this is probably an extreme display of power.
Yeah. If I had to benchmark, like you said, between Luke and, say, Palpatine, I wouldn't say that he's as powerful as Palpatine, but I would think that if you're looking for a ballpark, I think it's more in the realm of Palpatine rather than Luke.
I think so too. Yeah.
Although if you compare the prequel Jedi, I think he's more powerful than anything we see in the prequel trilogy as well.
Yeah,
I agree.
I agree too.
I don't know. Even by the time of like A New Hope, this ability doesn't really seem like something that I would foresee maybe Obi-Wan being able to do.
I think part of that might also
like,
be the attitude of the Jedi at the time.
That could be.
Because they mentioned the dark side clouding their judgment, which I interpret as fear of all kinds of things. I think it's a fear of a loss of stability, most of all. And so that definitely limits what they're capable of.
Yeah.
So perhaps they could. Perhaps they could have won the Clone Wars this way if they didn't have their heads up their asses, you know?
So I think that there's like a light side, dark side split there as well, of this kind of manipulation is also more in line with the thinking of the dark side, because even C'baoth is not particularly happy to do this, but he will go along with it because he's not specifically on either side of the Force. But Thrawn is there kind of like looking down his nose at it and going, oh yeah, he's doing what he enjoys most, controlling others. And I think that there is a kind of that kind of use of power is also not something you would see from somebody in the Jedi Order.
Yeah, it does seem a lot more dark side, because I would see the light side version of that being more like boosting the morale and empowering others to make good decisions within battle, while this is straight up like I am playing a strategy battle game on my computer, and I'm directing my forces.
Which is really the question. I wonder, like, does that really put I want to call him General Zahn. That's in it. Thrawn. Does that really put Thrawn to shame? Where like he's a commander, and like he leads people, but C'baoth is just like truly leading, like showing the armies what to do.
I wonder if Thrawn sees him as cheating in a way. Thrawn probably likes his methods more because he has more pieces and factors to consider, because he can't just override people's minds.
Yeah.
So I think he sees what he does as like a greater display of skill and ability.
I bet he feels like that, but if he had the power, he would.
Oh yeah, totally. Actually, I'm not sure. That's an interesting thing to think about.
No, I'm with Kyle on this one. I think that he would totally abuse that power if he had it. Yeah, because like he's all about use what you've got at your disposal, and because it's not at his disposal, he's not so worried about it because he doesn't have any control over that. So why worry too much until that becomes a factor?
Yes, agreed.
I think he thinks he's the best, so why would he let someone else do it?
For sure.
Yeah, true. Yeah, see, I was starting to think, he would see it as like an unfair advantage and would be like, no, I have this thing, but I'm going to use it sparingly. But no, now that you explain it that way, he uses whatever he has.
Yeah.
Especially force-canceling lizards.
Yep.
I liked how neat the space battle was here. It was very, very clean. Everything was done
Yeah.
and communicated very, very well. I quite liked that. And there were certain points in the chapter that Pallaeon says, "Oh, maybe these people aren't as wet behind the ears as the lack of professionalism seems to dictate."
Yeah, I thought the battles were like wonderfully described in this. When I was listening to it, it was really just coming to life for me.
I like all that space terminology as well. Damn it, I wrote these things down. Yeah, the flare of star lines, the mottling of hyperspace, flickering of pseudo-motion, and star lines flare and shrink back into points of light. I feel like the marvelous. I feel that image in my brain, and it just like, it feels really good.
It was kind of tough for me to get into because space battles have never been a particular point of interest for me with Star Wars.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so for me, the stuff that really stood out was the interpersonal dynamics between Pallaeon, Thrawn, and C'baoth.
Mm-hmm.
And I could have missed something, but I do feel like the dynamics between them haven't changed or advanced much, aside from C'baoth just getting more impatient. And that is something I am eager to see change soon, because I do, even though they're doing different things, and I mean, Pallaeon is changing because of what he's witnessed with C'baoth. I would like to see things advance in with the tension between Thrawn and C'baoth instead of continuing to stay in this weird stalemate they have. Yeah, like how many times is C'baoth just going to be like, "Oh, you owe me some Jedi," and keep going along before he just breaks, you know?
Yeah, you think he's going to pull a Kylo Ren and start slashing his lightsaber across the command console?
Yeah. he's gonna crush Thrawn's head between his thighs.
Jedi Master, Jedi Thigh Master.
Imperial Thigh Master.
That's something force bubble lizards can't stop.
Can't stop from getting crushed.
That's why C'baoth works out.
There's a different type of lizard in a different galaxy that makes your thighs weaker.
Yeah. Yep.
You walk into it and they just instantly start shrinking. The closer you get.
It's because they have predators that have very large calves that chase after them.
You imagine that by the end of the book, Thrawn's got this huge terrarium that as you walk through, there's different bubbles of different effects of different lizards.
For all different enemies. Yeah. Oh my god. That would actually be really awesome to see a story with someone trapped in a terrarium like that and having to figure out the different effects and find a way out. It's very Hunger Games. Yeah.
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 So Tim, what do you think is going to be the shaky link in that triangle between Pallaeon, Thrawn, and C'baoth?
I think C'baoth is going to lose his patience at some point, and I am losing patience for that moment for him to lose his patience. That is one of my few criticisms in the book so far.
What about between Pallaeon and Thrawn? What do you see happening there?
That's a good question. It's a very good question. Because I definitely see Pallaeon getting nervous, but I don't know if I see ambition.
Okay.
I see a little bit more. I guess I kind of see a little bit more faith in that Pallaeon has in Thrawn now, because he's actually seeing C'baoth firsthand, and he knows that Thrawn orchestrated this, and he's like, oh, Thrawn actually kind of knows what he's talking about and doing. And he mentioned that it was up, their forces were up 40% efficiency, and Pallaeon is seeing that improvement that C'baoth is actually bringing to the Force, their forces, their forces and their military force. And I think Pallaeon's actually like, wow, Thrawn really knows what he's doing. So I think I see Pallaeon kind of having a little bit more faith in Thrawn.
Mm.
Mm.
You know, it does prove Thrawn's theory about the Emperor having an effect on the Empire,
Yeah.
keeping them from their inner cadet instincts.
Yeah, but then at the same time, if I remember right, during the Battle of Endor, we're kind of scattered, and part of the reason why they lost the Battle of Endor. So maybe Pallaeon's like, oh shit, maybe if this is the reason why our forces lost or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, I see that. Yeah,
Where do you think
Thrawn's got an admirer.
what do you think the
C'baoth.
military conventions of the Star Destroyers being siege engines? Like, what do you think that means?
I think it's too big and clunky to do in and out kind of things. I don't think it's like, quick, turn the Star Destroyer around. We got to get out of here.
Right. Okay.
It's like, but at the same time, I think siege machines, they're not necessarily for. I mean, they are, but I think it's also more of a presence. When you see a Star Destroyer up in the sky, you know something's going crazy, and you know
Yeah.
you're boned.
Yeah,
So
laying down a lot of fire.
To me, that's kind of I mean, yeah, they can probably lay down a lot of like airstrikes.
They do have good firepower.
assaults,
Yeah,
they do. But at the same time, they're not going to be flying in. It's not like a drop ship or anything like that.
Yeah, this isn't an interceptor.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's more of just a presence type of intimidation.
Yeah.
But they do house interceptors.
They do.
Oh, do they?
And shuttles.
Yeah.
Okay, I wasn't sure if they were part of the craft or if they are part of a fleet.
Okay. I mean, there are fighters within Star Destroyers that fly out of them.
Oh,
Yeah.
Yeah. One of them being TIE interceptors.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. So I guess that's how I read the siege machine comment. It's more like, I don't know, it reminds me of the big towers in Lord of the Rings, The Return of the King that the orcs had, where it's like housing troops and it's intimidating and it's big, and it's more, I guess, marking where the ground that they've taken is.
Right.
Rather than advancing it. I mean, it is advancing, but it's kind of like that big wall in the back.
Right.
To be like, hey, you can't go past this point. This is ours.
Yeah.
While the more agile craft work ahead to gain more ground.
Right. I also guess that there's some sort of vulnerability as well when doing lightspeed jumps. Because if you have to like turn off your shields or power down the shields, or you have to disengage your weapons or something, that might open some sort of hole for retaliation against these high value targets as well.
Yeah, lightspeed seems quite cumbersome in a lot of ways.
Do you think, can like a person go through the shields of a ship? Do you think it's like blaster, like it only stops like blasters?
I would not expect them to be able to.
It's some sort of like
an energy
electromagnetic
shield
thing, right?
Is it?
Against high speed things, and so you don't get like micrometeor it's going through your hull, and it stops energy weapons, which is why ion cannons are devastating, and you can launch boarding parties as well.
Oh, okay.
Do they start? Do these kind of shields stop like slug thrower type projectiles, like bullets and stuff? I can't remember.
Yeah, that's what I would expect. Otherwise, you're going to get all your space debris and stuff from exploding craft around you going through your hull.
So then, if they can stop like metal and like space debris and bullets.
So if I were to fly by in my X-wing, put on my spacesuit, and jump out of the cockpit with just the smallest amount of force so that I'm slowly traveling to the shield, would I be able to go through?
Oh, I don't think you need to be that slow at all. I think you could, because like ships fly through the shields, right? We had that at the Battle of Endor. The A-wing went through the shields into the bridge of the Executor.
That's right. Yeah.
But did they actually have shields on that part?
It would be a pretty devastating place not to have shields.
Yeah.
But I mean, if they can stop like space debris and stuff, how come they can't stop an A-wing?
Thrawn would have a lot to say about them and their lack of shields on the bridge.
I think it's a speed thing. Like what do they call it? Slime or goo or something, that like you try to hit that thing, or if you like jump into water.
Oh, like a Newtonian fluid or something?
Are you talking about oobleck?
Yeah, something like that. So if you try to jump into water from a very high height, it's as tough as concrete, but you can jump in from like the side of a pool because
surface tension,
will allow that. And so I think when you fly your ship by, if you want to have a boarding party, or even I think one of the books, Vader jumps out of his TIE Defender and lands on the ship and then just like rips it apart because he's all self-contained in his suit and just like smashes through the outside of this craft. That was a pretty cool scene.
So it's like the body shields from Dune.
Maybe, yeah.
There was an episode of Clone Wars where Ahsoka was teaching Onderonian citizens how to take care of destroyer droids. Where she teaches them to just like run up and then like slowly roll a thermal detonator so that it can pass through their shields and explode inside.
Yeah, I remember that.
I also remember that in Rebels.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, they did do it in Rebels. Yeah.
Where they taught they had to teach that one like really what's his name? He was in Rogue One.
Oh, Saw Gerrera?
Yeah, they had to teach Saw Gerrera how to do that.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. Good times.
The slow blade penetrates the shield.
Yeah. So, yeah, big battle, and they just dip out.
Yeah,
hit and run.
They're like, we did the thing. It worked.
I do like the naming of this convention as well, the hit and fade rather than hit and run, because like with that pseudo motion that they call of the light speed jump, that kind of fading seems like really, really cool. I don't know if we use hit and fade in real life, but
I've never heard it before.
Never heard it, but it sounds really cool. It's something that we might have to start using.
I could see someone taking a hit and getting faded, but not hit and fade.
Hit and disintegrated.
So as this happens, Talon Card and Mara Jade are witnessing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, we don't want to be a part of that.
Yeah.
I wonder where Card is getting all his information from.
Yeah.
Regarding what?
To be in the right place at the right time.
Yeah, this does feel a little too convenient. Because it does feel like, why would he just be there? Why would he just be there? Just happen to be there? Why would Talon Card, third party?
It does say they had a shipment.
Yeah, but did they just like...
At the same time, yeah, it just happens to be in the same.
Yeah.
Right.
Although it made it sound like a reoccurring shipment. That like, we'll just get them the next time. So I think this is a regular thing.
Right.
But he might have an informant or something inside the Imperials that he's getting this information from. And they're doing whatever shady things that they're doing.
They're DoorDash or something.
Mara Jade seemed especially naive in this scene.
Yeah, it seemed a little out of place for somebody who seems to be some sort of like ex-Imperial something. We're not sure at this point.
Yeah, you would think that she would maybe even recognize this kind of tactic or something, but...
She was very sensitive around the word promise.
Yeah.
Which is a strange thing to get hung up on.
Yeah, I remember it saying when she like gathers herself, with an effort, Mara forced the black haze of memory away, and then promises with an ellipses. And so something happened there.
Yeah.
And I don't know, I guess this also kind of reminds me of the whole thing with C'baoth and Thrawn's dynamic not really moving forward. We just keep getting hints with Mara Jade.
Yeah. To be fair, this is her second chapter, I believe.
Yeah.
So it makes sense that this wouldn't be as advanced as the other one.
It does, yeah. But what is there to latch onto about her character so far? I guess that's my criticism.
Yeah.
Yeah, these both times we've been with these characters for me have been the dullest parts of the book so far.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
See, she seemed really I can't think of the English word. She seemed really assertive in the first chapter that we met her. And for her to be so infantilized in this chapter, I felt really jarring.
Yeah. I mean, maybe she was intimidated by the battle she just witnessed.
Yeah, I think so,
I guess.
At the same time, though, she explicitly said, we're missing the shipment.
Right, and
so
you would
like,
think
that's what's bugging her. And it's like, girl, do you not see the chaos unraveling?
Exactly. That's what kind of bugs me. It's like, really? Shouldn't she be on the same page as not wanting to have the Republic come in and, them have to deal with the Republic? If
they
she's
just
supposed
did a hit
to be
and fade.
right, she knows the Republic's going to be showing up to clean up the mess, and if she's really trying to be his number 2 lieutenant, whatever he called her, then shouldn't she be kind of on the same page as him? It's like, I don't want to deal with these guys either. Let's get the F out here,
Yeah.
Yeah.
It seems like the scene just needed a conflict, but it wasn't a scene that actually had a conflict within it.
Yeah.
Because I think realistically, from what we've seen of both characters, they would have the same reaction to these events that they're witnessing.
Just needed something for them to do together.
Yeah.
I think you could have gotten the same tension if maybe Mara was more insistent that they leave sooner than later because they don't know how long it's going to take for the Republic to show up. Whereas Talon is his suave, smooth, cool, calculated businessman that he is. We're just like, no, we've got time. We'll just see how else it shapes up. No, we have to leave right now. I don't want to be around when Luke Skywalker shows up.
That would have been much more organic. Yeah. Who cares about the shipment?
Yeah, they've just been bombarded from orbit. I'm pretty sure the shipment is a very low priority right now.
They'll get next week's HelloFresh.
Yeah. So yeah, smuggler section was weird. Yeah, I hope something happens there soon.
And it was surprising, and it was short.
I think of the 3, this one was my least favorite.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to something actually happening with that group there.
Yeah.
Not trying to make nothing burger sections.
Yeah, right. So, Republic section.
Hey.
Yay. So Leia
they hear
finally has
about the hit and fade.
Yeah.
They hear about all the hit and fades.
Right.
Yeah. Very surprised to get 3 concurrent raids.
Yes.
Leia finally has a lightsaber.
Yeah.
Hey.
We don't find out what color it is.
No.
It's the most important part.
Yeah, if you light up a lightsaber in a room, like, it changes the color palette of the entire room.
It does.
Pretty sure that's something to notice.
Please describe it.
Yeah, he could have written something about like the whatever color light reflecting off the walls or whatever,
Yeah. The azure glow across the panels. Come on, Timothy Zahn.
Yeah. Although she seems pretty quick to finish that lesson. It was like, as soon as there was an excuse, the lightsaber is off.
Yeah.
Not even waiting for the training remote to turn off.
Right? Yeah. But I mean, she's torn between so many different responsibilities.
Yeah.
So I think that just shows how stretched thin they are with how much they have to do.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, will she be able to do her Jedi training? We don't know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I've been around women who've been pregnant, having 3 kids, so it's like I know how cranky she can be.
That's right, and she's pregnant.
Yeah.
It was interesting to mention that she got self-defense training while being raised as a diplomat.
Mm-hmm.
And I wonder, like, if there is like an imperial standard for diplomats, or whether it was very specifically Alderaanian.
I'm thinking it's
traditional.
specifically Alderaanian.
Or is it specifically Bail Organa?
Could be.
He doesn't seem like the most martial dude.
But then again, he's also not a character right now, as far as we know.
No.
Yeah, no prequels.
Well, yeah, you're right. Wait, we didn't know he was... No, because he wasn't in A New Hope, was he?
No, he wasn't.
He was, not mentioned.
He was killed off screen.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. Bail Organa died on his way to Yavin 4. Yeah, that is quite a bizarre piece of information for a diplomat to have self-defense training.
I mean, I don't think it's out of the ordinary for a diplomat.
True, yeah. I mean, I can think of real-life examples.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd want some basic combat skills, maybe, just to be able to get out of a pinch, but I don't think real-life diplomats are going through... They're being told to rely on their bodyguards or, how best to escape a situation rather than deal with it once you're in it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, if I was in a diplomatic situation or some kind of high important situation, I would definitely have my own training. I would take it upon myself to learn how to protect myself. Probably even carry a gun or something.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. Or a lightsaber. Yeah, no. Poor Leia being torn all over the place, but at least Luke got some relaxing combat.
Oh, yeah.
A full 20 minutes of it.
I really want one of those remotes. That seems like a lot of fun.
Yeah. Don't know if relaxing is the right word, but...
Well, I mean, he basically went in a trance with it.
Yeah, nice little flow state right there.
Yeah.
It's like that scene from Robin Hood Men in Tights where Blinken is like just going to town on the wooden pillar. That's just what comes to mind.
It has been so long since I've seen that movie.
Because he's blind, he thinks he's fighting all these soldiers, and really he's just like cutting up a wooden pillar.
That is such a Mel Brooks joke.
I do really empathize with Luke in this situation, though, because that's a real big responsibility to have on you. And yet, teaching's a skill. It's not the same as acquiring the skill itself, because you have to have this meta knowledge of what it's like to acquire the skill. And most people, when they go through this, they completely forget what it's like to be a student and to pick up those skills. And that's why you go to YouTube and you look for tutorials about how do I do this thing. And they're absolutely terrible because they don't know how to teach. They just know that, I do this thing, and they don't know about the 5 subconscious things the 5 subconscious choices that they're making along the way.
Yeah.
I have a big issue with that when someone asks me to show them how to run a press at my job, because I would be like, I don't know, I do it. I couldn't tell you how I do it. My brain just does it at this point sometimes.
Yeah.
And I think it's also important.
I'm glad that Luke has that kind of self-awareness, that he realizes that he's not a teacher and not just kind of like going through this like, just follow what I'm doing. That he's got a little bit more...
He has to be conscientious of how she learns as well.
Yeah.
Because even though they're twins, they could still learn completely different ways. And, it could all be based on how they were raised, too. She was raised up in the, highly diplomatic family, and the way she learns could be completely different than the way...
I wonder why you can't just use the Force to upload instincts to other people's brains.
Maybe you can, but that's not one of his skills.
Maybe he learns that in chapter 10.
You can, but you need a lizard.
There's a special lizard for that.
There's a lizard, and when both people hold on to it, and you say, "I wish you knew what it was like in my shoes," and then you swap bodies.
That's the orange lizard.
Oh man, the yeah, we're looking for the skill teaching lizard, this skill salamander.
I think you want the chartreuse lizard for that.
And then finally, after all this, why did Luke suddenly remember Yoda?
I think it was I think it was a coincidence. He woke up from his little daydream, and his brain was like, "I gotta go to Dagobah. I don't know why. I don't think Yoda's there anymore. I think his spirits is gone. But I think I don't think his brain is saying Yoda's there. His brain's saying go to Dagobah, and he thinks Yoda.
Just like in Empire, he's waking up on in the ice. Go to Dagobah. Dagobah.
The Obi-Wan comes to him and says, "You will go to the Dagobah system."
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was because the trance he got in reminded him of his training on Dagobah.
Yeah.
And so he created an association. Yeah.
It was that it was the raid on Fash that he can't go to Fash because some Jedi went crazy and did some massacre during the Clone Wars, and then Leia says, "Oh, one of them got as far as Dagobah," and then he's thinking, "Oh, I wonder why Yoda never mentioned this," and then tried to think about whether he would sense Yoda or not on the system. So two things: Jedi went crazy during the war, which understandably so.
That's right. Yeah, they don't like Jedi.
Given what we know about the Clone Wars now, I'm surprised many of them didn't get some PTSD, crazy stuff. But and I'm guessing that's kind of what is being hinted at here, that they're just being broken by the war in some way.
My goodness, guys, there's a lot in this chapter.
Yeah,
there actually is.
I kind of miss when it was just one section.
Yeah, same.
One perspective.
Much easier to talk about.
Yeah, the 3 parts, because it's not a particularly long chapter. There's just a lot to it.
Yeah, there's a lot to dig into.
But then there's also, it seems like Luke hasn't told anybody about his time on Dagobah. Like, he totally dropped off the map for that time.
Right.
Because he doesn't Dagobah is not significant to Leia at all, so he hasn't mentioned it to her. And, I'm sure he's not talking to C-3PO about it. But even still, he's not getting the computers wiped, or he's not power cycling his machines, his X-Wing and R2. So, and he won't let anybody touch him either. So
yeah, which feels like a disaster waiting to happen.
Yeah.
Poor R2's gonna get a virus.
Oh man.
Yeah. And then his true gangster will come out and we will all die. R2 kills the Star Wars universe.
The whole reason that he can interact with the Willis is that he hasn't slept in, how long's it been? 6 years or 7 years?
So yeah, good on Luke to realize that he needs some guidance, and now he's gonna go to Dagobah and hope to talk to Yoda. Anyone else have any other thoughts on the chapter?
I wasn't a big fan of this chapter. Overall, I did enjoy the space battles, but I feel like they, I don't know, they spread it out too much.
Even though there's a lot to it, my ADD brain kind of liked it because it was like, oh, something new. Oh, something new,
Yeah, I quite enjoyed this one.
I actually did like this chapter.
Yeah.
For me, it felt like a lot of reaction to other events, and so and I mean that's fine. It happens in stories. My brain just tends to get most excited by action, people being proactive.
Yeah.
And so when the space battle starts, it's like, heck yeah! And then I'm reminded of the Thrawn C'baoth tension, and still not seeing that move forward. And then I dip out. Then we get the smuggler section.
Mm.
And then the Republic section, we get a lightsaber, and that's cool.
Yeah, I liked one of the most interesting parts about this chapter for me was finding out about Dark Jedi going from Badfish, whatever we're calling this place,
Bad fish.
to Dagobah, and that makes me wonder if Yoda had known, and then the cave that Luke goes into to kind of face himself, he has the vision of Vader or whatever. To me, I was thinking that those Dark Jedi from Bibfash could have been what caused that dark presence within that cave.
You might be onto something.
Right.
Well, guys, we will find out what happens next as Luke heads off to Dagobah. Han and Leia go to investigate the crazy hit and fade that happened. Thrawn and C'baoth continue to just flirt with each other about power, and the smugglers continue to observe. So, this has been The Lost Holocron. You can find transcripts, links to discussions, and more at our website, lostholocron.com. While you're there, you can learn how you can support the creation of future episodes. Read on, and we will be waiting for you in the next transmission. We would be honored if you would join us.